friends, and welcome to another episode of Booked, a place to explore the realms of creativity. Today's guest is Katherine Blakeman. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. We were talking previously about how chilly it is, but when this goes out, it's going to be hot again, which is kind of funny in itself.
The hot weather. I'm a summer baby. I like my heat.
Are you? I prefer it to be cold because I'm a sweaty woman.
Yeah,
And I
there is
find
that.
that I don't like being sweaty, so I'm like, I'd rather be cold and wear a jumper than be
Fair enough.
warm. But that's what makes the world go round. It's
True.
people being different. So thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about your work and your creative process, and I'm very excited to dive in. So before I start asking you a flurry of questions, would you be able to give the listeners a bit of an overview of what to expect from your work if they were going to pick up one of your books today?
Okay, so, well, that is a big question. But to put it in one sentence, sapphic fiction that tackles big topics.
Hmm.
I've kind of made a bit of a name for myself in the genre with my capacity for slicing through stigma, basically.
Hmm.
So my
Okay.
first Sapphic book is The Summer We've Had, and that examined the relationship between one woman with depression and one woman with dissociative identity disorder. So, I really eased myself in there. It was a bold choice, obviously, to include dissociative identity disorder,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it was my first foray into the genre.
Hmm.
But I did it because there's been very little sort of media discussion of DID and
Mm-hmm.
even less healthy portrayals of it, and even less from an LGBT perspective. And then moving on to my other books, I mean, my second book is called Love You, However, and it
Mm-hmm.
examined the relationship breakdown and subsequent salvage of two people when one discovers they're not the gender they were assigned at birth, essentially. And
Mm-hmm.
then the third book, A Different Kind of Pride, examines how a woman who didn't know how to let people in ends up letting someone in through pure necessity when she has a car accident that leads her to require spinal surgery
Mm-hmm.
and ends up falling in love with her. There's a healthy dose of romance.
No, that's lovely. Something that I picked up from I recently read Love You However, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not a romance person, but I'll give anything a go. Especially through this, I've been reading things that I never would have looked at because I love just like gory horror books. So this was far from that. So it was like really outside the realms of what I would normally read. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And just as you so eloquently described your own work, is that it's very inclusive, and it definitely it takes voices that you wouldn't necessarily come across every single day as like an average person, and you've handled it in a way that is incredibly thoughtful and kind, and you can tell that you've done your research and that you've done your best to represent these groups of people in a positive and informative light, and I really really enjoyed that.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I might use that for one of my little testimonials. I don't read
Please
romance,
do.
but I enjoyed this one.
Well, it was good, and I am always a fan of any type of media that gives the voice to people who don't always get a voice, and I really appreciated that.
That's good.
Um,
I'm
something
glad.
that I something that I actually really enjoyed about this particular book was, as I was born a woman, and I continue to be a woman, and I've always been fascinated by people who maybe fascinated is the wrong word, but intrigued by those who are exploring their own gender identity, because I had a difficult time growing up thinking that because I was tall and broad that I should be more masculine presenting, and then doing little what I felt were strangely rebellious things as an adult, like getting my ears pierced and trying to present myself in a more feminine way. I finally started to feel comfortable with myself. It's just interesting to see other people's journeys.
Mm, yeah,
Um, and it was
definitely.
just yeah, and I liked being able to sort of go on the journey with Jean
Mm,
and to be able to see, okay, so it's not just that one person being affected, it's everyone around them, and how do you navigate that as a human being? Um,
Yeah.
and it's hard, and that must have been a very difficult um, story to write
Mm. Yeah. And
because there were all sorts of yeah. Sorry,
I
you go.
that's all right. I just wanted to demonstrate that because Jean is, I think they're 52,
Hmm.
and see, I can't remember the details of my own books now. We're doing quiz, aren't we? I think Jean is 52, and I want with their story, I wanted to show that it's not just a young person's thing discovering
Mm,
that you're non-binary.
hmm.
I wanted it I wanted it to show that it's not just the young person you see in the shop with blue hair,
Yeah.
not just a stereotype. It could be the person that serves you at the checkout, as it is with Jean. It could
Hmm.
be anybody on the street, and you don't always know. So it's always better not to assume necessarily. In my personal life, I've been trying to sort of default to using they, them pronouns
Mm,
for the people around me before I know their true pronouns.
hmm.
And I've also been trying to, again, ascertain people's pronouns in the first few days, weeks of knowing them. I
Mm,
work in retail, so I meet a lot of new people.
hmm.
And that is something I'm trying to build into my initiation with people. And that is something that writing Love You, however, has taught me. And I
Mm.
hope that that's what it instills subtly into the people that read it.
Interesting. I really like that. I love the idea of being able to create art because that's what writing is. Create art that helps people to adapt and improve themselves and the way they treat other people.
Hmm.
Because it's so important to like I still use the wrong pronouns for people. It's not on purpose. And I'd rather somebody said, "Hey, that's not right," but that's fine. And then I can
Hmm.
correct myself. And I think that's something that people are often very scared of is getting it wrong and then getting in trouble, which I
Yes.
find fascinating. But I think the majority of people who don't use what the majority of people might assume is their sort of pronouns that they want to use
Hmm.
um, are generally speaking quite nice about it because they understand that it can be quite challenging for people who aren't in that world.
Yes.
Mm,
And it
that's fair.
also can be challenging for them to stand up and say, you said, I don't know, for example, you said he, but you should have said they, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Hmm.
Because again, there's a big stigma around it. Sort of
Mm,
people, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the argument, they is a plural. Not
hmm.
necessarily. I mean, if somebody dropped their wallet or something in the
Hmm.
street, you'd pick it up and say somebody dropped their wallet.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So
And I've
yeah,
always,
that argument makes absolutely no sense the way I see it. So again,
yeah.
it's one of those things I wanted to demonstrate with Love You However, that
Hmm.
they them pronouns are completely valid and it's not just, I don't know, an abomination against grammar.
I totally agree. And what I think is really important is that the way that you've presented navigating these themes within the book is that it's
Mm,
just totally fine in terms of the way that the society is structured. Like it's part of it that people need to navigate, and sometimes it is the personal struggle of the person, and the people around them can be more accepting than they assume they're going to be. I feel
mm,
like it's a decent, like just a basic human decency thing. If
yeah.
somebody came up to me and I assumed, let's say for example, their name might be Kevin, but actually they say my name's Mary, I'd go, "Oh, your name's Mary," and that's what I know them as because they've already told me that that's what their name is. So
Mm,
to then be like, "I'm just gonna call you Kevin anyway," is just so disrespectful and rude
mm,
because somebody's been like, "Hey, no, this is me," and you've gone, "I don't like that. I'm gonna do something different."
yeah. It's like if somebody called me, I don't know, Christina, and I'd be like,
Hmm.
no, my name's Catherine. No, I'm going to
Yeah.
call you Christina because I like
Hmm.
that name better. You look more like
Oh.
Christina to me. I don't know. You don't look like a Catherine. I'm going to call you Christina or Chris. How about that? How about no? You wouldn't like it if your name was. Oh, I can't think of a name now. I'm a writer. I should be able to come up with a name. You
You're on the spot. It's all right.
wouldn't like it if your name was Ruby and I called you Emily. I don't know.
Hmm. Exactly. To me, it's the same. It's adjacent because if somebody said, "This is who I am," and you've gone, "I don't like that. I'm going to do something different." I just can't even fathom how that's okay in other scenarios.
Exactly.
So I do feel like it can be overcomplicated to people who either don't understand it or they've not tried to understand it.
Mm.
When really it's just another human on this planet trying to navigate life and feel
Yeah.
as comfortable and happy as they possibly can. And the
Yeah.
best thing we can do is just accept people because that's just basic
Mm.
respect and decency. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, you don't necessarily need to even understand it. Somebody's told you what their name and pronouns are.
Hmm.
It's not on you to amend that to your
Hmm.
own preference. That's just what their name and pronouns are.
I'm glad we agree because that would have been a
Yes.
really hard conversation if we didn't.
Yeah, of course, yeah. As you can tell, this is something I feel strongly about.
And so you should. So you
Mm.
should. And I think it's very, very cool that you are passionate about something and you've channeled that passion into storytelling, which is very cool.
Yes,
Because that
that's what I
allows you
do.
to get it's fantastic and it allows the reader to get into the heads of the characters that you're writing and actually have a bit of empathy. So
Mm.
yeah, it's very cool. So in terms of your the evolution of your writing, I know previously we very, very briefly talked about the silent chapter in terms of how different it is to your Bound by the Rainbow series.
Mm.
Did you have sort of much time between your it was your debut novel, wasn't it? The silent chapter.
Yes, nobody ever talks about this one anymore. So I'm like, oh, we're talking about this now.
So I mean the themes are very, very different.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
well, they're basically opposite, which is cool.
Yeah.
But what was the transition from writing in that realm to writing the sort of sapphic romance?
In a word, age,
Hmm.
because how can I put this? Obviously, the silent chapter is straight,
Mm-hmm.
as in heterosexual, and
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it when I thought I was straight when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger. I started writing it when I was 13, and I
Mm-hmm.
finished it when I was 17 or 18.
Okay.
Well, by then, me and the manuscript, we'd been through so much together that I thought I've got to get it out into the world somehow, which was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much how I started self-publishing because I did try and go traditional publishing, but I got so annoyed with it. I thought, screw this, I'll just do it myself, and I did.
Good
And
for you.
four and a bit books later, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but around the same time, around sort of 17, 18, I found that my heart really lay within the sapphic fiction genre. And I mean, I'd been writing what eventually became The Summer We've Had, even before I knew sapphic fiction was a thing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I started The Summer We've Had properly in the first COVID lockdown, so I was 16. Was I? Wait, yes, I was 16. I can't count, don't worry. And anyway, sapphic fiction just flowed so much better with me, especially
Mm-hmm.
by the time I actually started reading it, which was, I think, 2021 when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt so right that once I started publishing sapphic fiction, I just never really looked back.
It's interesting to hear that your writing and the things that you care about writing have evolved with you as a person.
Definitely.
Mm. Interesting. Very cool. So, sort of circling back a little bit to your inclusivity in your writing, it's clearly something you care very deeply
Mm.
about. And you cover such a wide spectrum of people that it's like real life.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
that's what real life is like.
Yeah. I mean, even though
Um,
they're fictional, I want to
mhm.
portray them as if they're real.
Well, they are. They're people we know, and that's what I think I kind of found the most interesting about Love You, however, is that I know these people
Mm.
and I could absolutely picture people that are in my life going through these same scenarios, and I just found it really fascinating.
Mm.
So, why is it important to you to be able to do that for groups of people that don't necessarily get a voice?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't I? I have. the power of the written word at my disposal.
Hmm.
So why would I not put it towards doing something good? I mean, there is enough bad stuff going on in the world. You only have to
Hmm.
open Twitter to look at that, or X, should I say?
Right. I
X,
call it
Twitter,
Twitter.
yeah, whatever it is. Twix. Let's just call it Twix. I know that's a chocolate bar in the UK, but we'll skim over that. We'll call it Twix for now.
That's fine.
That's probably an insult to Twix, actually. So I don't know. Let's just call
Anyway.
it social media. If you look at
Yep.
social media, there's enough horrible stuff going on in the world. And
Hmm.
given that I have the power to make it the tiniest little, tiny bit brighter,
Hmm.
I thought, why wouldn't I? And yeah,
Hmm.
like I said, I want to portray them as if they're real three-dimensional people. And that's why I add so much enhancement to them. You know,
Hmm.
little things like, I don't know, Cass in the summer we've had, she has a nut allergy. So do I, incidentally. I don't really know why I put that in there, but I thought it helps to make her more 3D. And it also
Hmm.
helps to normalize it. Because I tell people I have a nut allergy and they look at me like I've suddenly grown three heads. Yeah, little things like the
Yeah.
nut allergy, or even inconsequential things like Victoria in A Different Kind of Pride. She likes flapjacks. She doesn't have a
Hmm.
sweet tooth, but she really likes flapjacks. I
Hmm.
just thought little silly things like that can even help readers think this is more of a real person than someone who just blandly bleats about whatever they're going through.
Hmm.
And, you know, the big topics that surround them should not be the only thing they're known for, if you see what I mean. They're all
Hmm.
fully fledged people
Yeah.
who just happen to have had bad things happen to them or just happen to be struggling. The same as everybody. I just wanted to wanted to demonstrate that the ordinary person that you meet on the street or in the shop or, I don't know, working in your public library, they always have something going on underneath. And
Hmm.
I mean, firstly, that's to spread the message of being kind. There seems to be a real deficiency in kindness in the world. And then
You say that again.
there's, I know. And then secondly, to also show that nobody is alone in what they're going through, even if they feel that way. Even
Hmm.
if they're sitting in the dark at home thinking, for example, I must be alone in this. I must be the only person in the world who's got to age 52 and not realised that they're non binary.
Hmm.
That would be Jean.
Hmm.
But it's possible, it happens, and that's what I wanted to show.
Hmm.
I mean, I know I put my characters through the ringer. I always make sure they come out on top. I always give them a happy ending because I don't want people to feel depressed after reading my books. I know some of the topics are depressing, but they always triumph over them,
Hmm.
if you see what I mean. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, and a big part of that is getting sensitivity readers. I had,
Okay.
for the summer we've had, I had two clinical psychologists read it to sort of fact check my portrayal of DID or sort of nudge me if I was going the wrong direction with it, which I'm happy
Oh,
to say
that's
didn't
cool.
happen.
Good.
And then similarly, three non-binary people read Love You, however, and
Hmm.
I think it was a qualified nurse and a Ukrainian person read A Different Kind of Pride. And I know the Ukrainian person sounds a little bit random, but one of the main characters is Ukrainian, and
Ah.
it was my first time writing a character that was born outside of the UK, so I
Hmm.
wanted to make sure I did it right, basically.
Well, that's
Because
very caring and thoughtful of you.
yeah, I mean, well, the last thing I want to do is portray the big topics that I handle inaccurately. I don't want to contribute to the stigma I'm trying to break. And that's why I do endless amounts of research for each book. And it's why I always make sure it's as perfect as it can be,
Hmm.
from my perspective at least, before I release it.
Well, that's incredibly important, especially as you say that you're presenting these difficult subjects, because it could very easily be twisted, well, not even necessarily twisted, but presented in a way that makes people think, yeah, I was right to think that those people were weird, or, do you know
Exactly.
what I mean? Yeah. I love that you get sensitivity readers. This is something that I've only recently started learning about through sort of doing this and finding out people's processes.
Mm.
And initially I was like, why would you need to do that? If people don't like the book, then they don't like the book. That's how I used to think. I just like to point
Mm.
that out, not now. But I can see the importance of it. And it also allows the writers to explore things that are completely detached from themselves that they still care about
Yeah.
and be able to be confident that when it goes out into the world that they've done everything they possibly could to make sure those people were represented.
Mm.
So,
Because yeah,
mm-hmm,
it's all research for me for the most part because I mean, I don't have dissociative identity disorder, so
mm-hmm,
I didn't have any personal experience of that with the
mm-hmm,
summer we've had, and I didn't have any personal experience of having a identity crisis, a gender identity crisis like Jean
mm-hmm,
did. So again, it's all research and sensitivity reading just to show me if I'm going wrong.
mm. So how do you find sensitivity readers? Is there like an organization that you go to? Do you kind of put it out on social media and see if anyone's interested? How does that work?
It's more difficult than it sounds actually.
Oh,
With
really?
with the summer we've had, I was obviously looking for very niche. I think I started with therapists and then went on to I can't quite remember. I think I found a charity at one point that deals with DID and they didn't
Okay.
want to know. So,
Okay.
so I was
Thanks, guys.
okay, I think I'm being set up to fail here, but I was not deterred. I'm very used to rejection because I did spend a while in the query trenches.
Ah, yes.
That's why I started independent publishing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the end, I did find a therapist who then had a friend, and they both looked at it. Look, actually, there might have been three of them. I can't quite remember. It was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how I did the summer we've had. And then for Love You However and A Different Kind of Pride, both of those I think I found on Twix,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
Twitter, social media, and Instagram, I think.
Excellent. That's very cool. It's I suppose it's I thought it would be easier than it sounds like it was for you.
Mm.
But I suppose not everybody wants the responsibility of that as
Mm.
well. Because if they get it wrong, then I guess it's on their head a little bit.
Mm.
Hmm.
I mean,
Interesting.
mostly it's on mine, but I always ask them if they're happy to be named in my acknowledgements because then some people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to obviously check just in case the worst did happen and I said something catastrophically wrong and the mob came for me. It's not happened yet, so I hope it won't.
It better not do. You're the way that you tell stories. If anybody comes for you as a mob, you send them to me, and I'll give them one of them.
You can get them on the podcast and just eviscerate them.
That's what I'll do. Yeah, I'll say, "What the hell do you think you're talking about, you silly
Perfect.
geese?"
So,
Yeah, I'll do that.
world,
Don't
be
worry.
warned. Be warned. Saffron's on you.
I'm coming for you. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to go off on a really strange tangent, but I've decided not to. So that's growth. That's growth for me. That's not something I would normally police.
You're learning from Indiosyncrasy.
I
Everybody's learning.
am. I'm going on my own journey of self-discovery, and I'm discovering that I say a lot of random stuff that's really not helpful or useful or interesting. So
So you can
I'm
write a
trying to
book.
recognise that.
You can write a
I
book about it.
Yeah, I could, but if I could call it Saf help instead of self help.
Oh, I love that. There we go. I think you should
There you go.
trademark that.
I do love like inserting my name into stuff, and it's not. Well, I don't think it's narcissistic because I have very little self respect, but I like how it sounds.
Mm.
So, like, I went on a trip to Africa, and in my calendar it was called Safrica. I just
Oh, I
like doing
love
stuff
that.
like that. It just
I
makes me
love
happy.
that. I'm just trying to
Thank
think
you.
if there's anything you can do with my name, but the only thing that came to mind was catastrophic.
Oh,
I don't think we're going to use that one. Although, actually,
no.
it could be the title of my autobiography if the worst did happen and the mob came for me.
There you go.
So, I've got a contingency plan if the writing fiction doesn't work out.
Fantastic. I'm so glad. You gotta have a fallback sometimes.
Exactly. I like to be
Oh dear, but it certainly seems like you really treat your characters with care as if they were real people, and that's very cool.
Exactly.
Um,
To me, they are
something.
real people.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I happened across a tweet that you posted. I think it was even this morning, saying that you'd interviewed your own characters.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about that. I wasn't going to ask you about this, but I just happened to see it, and I'm so interested.
Well, put it this way, I opened up my laptop, I opened Word, and I was going to restart writing one of my old works in progress, which was
Yeah.
something I'd been putting off until I finished the draft of something I was just working on, but we'll get to that. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Anyway, what I didn't do was write that. I had a sudden brainwave of Anastasia and Victoria sitting down and being interviewed, and Victoria wasn't particularly happy about it, so I put my hands on the keyboard, blurted out a load of stuff, edited a little bit, made a cover, which I was quite proud of, and then whacked it on my blog and
Well, that's
scheduled it
cool.
for today.
Well, so was that a useful exercise for you in storytelling?
Yeah, it was something different. I probably at this rate I'm going to have to do it for my other characters, but it was good to sort of go back to them, and it's a bit like saying hi to an old friend because
Oh.
all three of my books are set in the same universe, apart from the
Mm-hmm.
silent chapter, obviously, because that's set in the 1930s, most of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other three, the Bound by the Rainbow series, is all set in Cornwall in a little fictional village, and
Mm-hmm.
it all sort of shares the same characters. So in Love You, however, you get to revisit Cass and Felicia from the summer
Mm-hmm.
we've had, and then in A Different Kind of Pride, you get to revisit Jean and Petra and Cass and Felicia. So it's sort of layering it up, but each and
Oh.
every time it flows so much better when the other characters are there because it's like
Mm-hmm.
checking in on them. It's like seeing an old friend again.
That's really nice.
That's why I do it so much.
Oh, that's lovely. Are your other characters knocking at the door asking for an interview now?
Yes,
I bet
definitely.
they are. Yeah. Those characters, man, they could be so talkative.
I know.
There are
I'm
some.
slightly worried about what Felicia would say because she can be a bit of a loose cannon. She's very bubbly, and she tends to let her mouth run away with her now and again.
You'll have a lot of material then.
Yes, so stay posted for that, guys.
Excellent. And you said that was posted on your blog?
Yes,
Awesome. I'll make sure that I add a link to your blog in the description
yeah,
of this episode as well, just in case people want to be able to click on it immediately.
perfect.
I've heard of other writers being able to sort of have conversations and sort of sit down with their characters and enjoy their company, or ask them about what they want to do next. And I
Mm,
find that really interesting.
mm,
With the my work in progress, the main character is very, very deeply based on my personality, and it's kind of me but with a different name, basically.
mm.
And I don't want to talk to her.
You just talk to
I don't
yourself.
think I don't think I could, but in the sense of the thought of there being two of me in this world causes me a great deal of anxiety, and I don't know if that's if that would be safe. But
Marketing is double the productivity, double Indiosyncrasy.
oh, then maybe I'd get some more work done.
I mean, you're getting plenty done today.
Honestly, it's just it's go 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 all the time. I have not been bored. I was saying this to somebody the other day. I don't think I've been bored since I was a kid.
Well done.
Right?
That's impressive.
It's because I can't stop thinking. Like I can sit there and do nothing, but I'm not bored because I'm planning stuff.
Mm,
So I literally have not been. I found that really fascinating actually because I have these really vivid memories of being really bored out of my mind as a child, and then at some point during my growth, I tapped into this like non-stop thinking button, and I hit it, and now the button's stuck, and it won't unstick, and so
oh,
it just happens all the time, which
tell
is
me about
fine,
it.
but it's terrible at the same time.
Okay.
But
I was
anyway,
I was lying in bed, well, still like sitting in bed last night. I had a migraine. I couldn't
oh,
move. I couldn't lie down. I couldn't open my eyes. And yet my brain was just whizzing round in circles. It was like a carousel that had got stuck. And I don't even remember what I was thinking about. I don't even remember driving home from work yesterday.
Hmm.
But I just remember sitting there and thinking, why won't you shut up? Let me go to sleep. It
Oh,
worked eventually, but
oh, that's good. I'm glad you found a system.
yeah, I mean, honestly, sleep meditations. I don't know if I'm allowed to promote the honest guys, but if anybody struggles with sleeping,
Hmm.
then they're a good YouTube channel, the honest guys. His
Oh,
voice is
cool.
like his voice is like a tranquilizer. 10 minutes of
Oh,
that and I'm off.
I wonder if that means that nobody ever watches everything all the way through on that channel.
I mean, I just let it play and I fall asleep somewhere between it and I wake up in the morning, my phone's still got it on the screen and my phone battery is on like 60%. It's like, oh, brilliant.
Well, I'm
But
glad you found something that works.
yeah, but it means I sleep and I'll take it. I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I need my sleep.
Oh, that sucks. That
Mm.
really sucks. I've got PCOS, which comes with chronic fatigue, and
Mm.
I can't imagine having it more often than I already do. So you have my empathy and sympathy all wrapped into one, because that really
Yes.
sucks. Because your brain's like, why don't we go do stuff? And your body's like, that's not happening, friend.
Hmm.
That's not going to happen today. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, after we're done here, I'm probably just going to go and sit in a dark room for a bit because I've still got the brain fog from the migraine.
Oh,
So
well, you're doing really well.
I'm surprised I'm making sense at this point.
You're doing great. I'm so proud of you.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, something that I was curious about, and there is no obligation to give me any details you're not comfortable to give me. If there are any events in your life that you haven't already mentioned that have inspired any of the stories within your books.
Uh, well, weirdly, not many of my big topics in
Mm.
inverted commas have been inspired by my own life because, as I
Hmm.
said, I'm a cisgender woman. I don't
Hmm.
have dissociative identity disorder. I
Hmm.
I have been diagnosed with depression,
Hmm.
and Cass in the summer we've had also has depression.
Hmm.
But I wrote the book before I really suffered with it.
Interesting.
But I mean, the good news, if you can call it that, is that I know more. My portrayal is accurate because it's pretty much what I ended up experiencing myself. So
Interesting.
I guess at least I know it's accurate. Woo!
Silver
But
lining.
exactly, I'll take it. I try to be a positive person, despite the potentially depressing nature of some of my books.
Hmm.
But the biggest thing that came from my own life, and this is a whole topic in and of itself,
Hmm.
was the spinal surgery that Miss Victoria
Mm.
Berry goes through in a different kind of pride. Because I went through almost the exact same surgery myself back in 2017. I was 13.
Hmm.
Victoria's came about through a car accident. I do love a bit of drama now and again
You
when I
do.
write my book. You know, I like to spice it up a little bit.
It does keep it spicy.
Not spicy in that way, but
No. Interesting spicy, not sexy
interesting spicy.
spicy.
Exactly. So yeah, hers was a car accident. Mine was pre-planned because I had scoliosis.
Okay.
But a lot of what I wrote about the surgery, like while she was in hospital,
Hmm.
stemmed from my real life.
Mm. Okay.
Like I drew from my own memories of being in the high dependency unit, of eating for the
Hmm.
first time, relearning to walk, and also the long, horrible recovery at home afterwards. Because
Hmm.
that was almost as bad as being in the hospital. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it was kind of cathartic in a way because I'd always
Mm.
intended on writing about it at some point. And then I had a brainwave of writing a book that ran parallel to the previous one, which was Love You
Mm.
However. The the inciting incident in Love You However is that the main character, Petra, her boss has a car accident. And
Hmm.
in the draft that I had at the time, Victoria broke her leg.
Mm.
So all I had to do was change it to a broken spine, and we were away, as you do. Did I mention I like to put my characters through the ringer?
You did, and you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I have no qualms about putting them through hell, but like I said, I always pull them through it.
And it's important to do that. I was talking to the author Ivan Scott a little while ago about sort of happy endings and processing grief and trauma. And as a reader, oftentimes it gives us hope to think,
Mm.
okay, well, this person's gone through this thing and they did make it out, and this is how they made it out. And it wasn't an easy thing, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm. Definitely.
I Yeah, I mean, I personally quite like reading books where they're not okay at the end, because that happens sometimes. But if you're not in a good place, or if you think, oh my gosh, I really need to know that somebody can get through this so that I can, it's super
Mm.
important that we have that sort of access to that storyline.
Yeah.
As you were saying, it was cathartic for you. I was writing a note to say, was it cathartic? So I didn't forget to ask you, and it was really spooky that you said it almost exactly the same time I was writing it down.
Oh,
So,
we're connected. We must be
oh, we must
psychologically.
be. Oh my gosh, we found each other.
Exactly.
So, so in terms of the catharsis of actually writing this, did it help you to work through the sort of difficult period of time in your recovery mentally? Was it something that you were hanging on to, or is it just nice to get it out?
Not really. It was more a case of just using what I'd been through for good. Like, as I was
Mm.
saying all the way practically at the beginning of this,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much power, but I have the power in my words to try and make the world a better place, to try
Mm-hmm.
and make people's lives slightly easier or brighter. I mean,
Mm.
I think I've done that. I mean, with going back to Love You, however, I've
Mm-hmm.
had several people email me, DM me saying your book helped me realize that I was not the gender I was assigned at birth. And just, I mean, however much it sells, however much money I make, I'm not in this for the money because otherwise I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be self publishing, let's face it.
Right.
Whatever happens, even if I do get cancelled at some point, hopefully it won't happen, even if all of that happens, I've
Mm.
still helped somebody along their way. And that's all I ever needed. That's all I ever wanted.
Mm. It's priceless. That
Yeah,
is a very, very cool superpower to have.
yes.
Because as you said again, I think it was quite early on, is that there's enough like negativity in the world that we
Yeah.
need people like you writing the things that you're writing to
Mm,
give us hope again.
yeah.
Because it's very, very easy. Like I think I said this a few weeks ago, that I think there's going to be an uptick in apocalyptic based
God.
novels in the next 4 years or so. That was an arbitrary amount of time that I just mentioned, but in the next
Mm,
4 years or so, um, I think there's going to be an increase in people expressing themselves in that way, and we need to also keep writing about hope and
mm,
I don't know, self discovery, and being able to make these things that may seem insignificant to other people that are really, really important to us um, still the subject of conversation.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
super important.
it might sound controversial, but I don't watch the news if I can help it.
Hmm.
I just think there's enough bad stuff going on in the world. There's enough negativity in my life. Why would I invite more of it into my
Hmm.
life if I can avoid it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I agree. I I go through periods of not watching the news because I find myself in this like weird cycle of like panic,
Hmm.
and then I think, why am I getting pissy at people? And then I realize it's because I'm just refreshing the news and
Yeah.
then reading about how terrible everything is, when I know that a lot of it's manufactured for sensationalism, but I can't help but believe it and then take it as if the world is ending and it's all terrible.
Hmm.
And then I go away from it and I read something lovely and I go, oh, it's not that bad actually. And it's a fantastic little fix to be able to read something where people are going through something and then they come out of it and they're really good, or even they're just having a nice time through the journey.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic escapism that I think is so needed, and that's why I love books.
Mm.
I love stories. They just make me so pleased. It's so hard. I don't think I ever will be comfortable knowing that I'm doing the right thing as a human being. And I
Mm.
think if as long as as I can see that you're doing with your work, as long as everything that you do is with good intentions, I don't think you can
Mm.
go wrong with it.
Exactly.
Mm. got a little bit philosophical just for a brief second there.
Well, it's okay.
So
I'll give you a marketing handle for this.
there you go.
Philosophical discussion with Catherine and Saffron, where we talk about the world and the next 4 years of apocalyptic novels and what we'd title our horrible self autobiographies.
In another self insert of narcissism, I would call it philosophical.
You've got a good brain for this. I'm sure.
I am obsessed with putting my name in stuff, and I don't know why. I don't know where it came from, but it's just the thing that happens. Anyway, so I am very interested to know: are you currently working on anything new? And if you can tell us about it, I'd love to know.
Okay, well, this one's kind of difficult to answer because
Okay.
the last time I did a podcast, it was released about 5 months after we recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I answered a question like this, it was completely out of date. So we will see what happens. But what I can say is that even though I've just finished a first draft, which is now
Mm-hmm.
with two fabulous beta readers,
Mm-hmm.
I can say that that won't be my next book
Oh,
because, well, the book that will hopefully be my next book is already partially written because
okay.
I did a first draft of it about 18 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to completely tear it apart from the seams and rewrite it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously that will need to go through the beta readers, possibly sensitivity readers,
Mm-hmm.
before it sees the light of day too. So again, that'll be a while. And on top of that, I have a few thousand words of a Christmas novella knocking around somewhere, but who knows whether I'll finish that this year. So, of course, this is all accurate as of now. We're in, or what are we in, mid-February. But by the
Yes.
time this podcast is released, it might be a completely different story. So all I can say is make sure you're following me on social media.
Oh, that was a fantastic plug.
You're welcome.
That was good. That was
Now you
good.
don't
And I
have to
will
do
be
it.
sure I will put everything in all the links of anything that I can possibly think of to find. I will put in the description of this episode so that it is easier for people to find your blog and all the fantastic stuff you're doing. Something that I didn't ask you in advance is I was actually curious about your guest blog because I know that that's something that you invite people to do or to take
Yes.
part in. Would you be interested in sort of talking about that just in case some of our listeners are fellow writers and would like to get involved?
Yes, of course. So I think it was about 2 years ago. I
Mm-hmm.
decided I have this little space on my website. Why
Mm-hmm.
not try and make something amazing out of it? So
Mm-hmm.
I opened up my blog to guest posts. I've had quite a few since then. Basically, if you're listening and you have a topic that you want to share, but you've got nowhere to share it, because you don't want the responsibility of writing your own blogs consistently, you can go to my website. There's a little tab for it, and you can send it to me. And obviously, subject to my approval, I'm not going to publish anything homophobic or racist or horrible,
Good.
but I will read it. I will have a look, and then if it meets with my approval, I will publish it for you. And then
Amazing.
I'll put it on all of my social medias. I'll send it to you so you can put it on yours. And I'll also make a little cover for it, a little sort of graphic. I'm not I'm not exactly a qualified graphic designer, but I have Canva, so
I love
and a
Canva.
little bit of creativity. It's not steered me wrong just yet. That's how I got my book covers.
Oh,
But
cool.
that is a service that I offer. So if you're interested, I'm sure Saffron will pop that in the description as well.
I absolutely will. And it's a fantastic service because I think things like running a blog, I've been toying with the idea of doing it, and hopefully when this episode comes out, I'll have actually started it. It seems like a massive undertaking to be
Mm,
able to regularly have something that people can go to like once a week or whatever. Do you
yeah.
ever do you regularly update your blog? Is it just sort of as and when things are changing, or do you have it
Yeah,
scheduled?
just as and when. Like I updated it today
Hmm.
with the interview with Victoria and Anastasia.
Hmm.
Before that, what did I do? I think I did a recipe because I posted a picture of some scones or scones on
Hmm.
my Instagram, and everybody was like, "Ooh, they look good." So I put the recipe in there. So honestly, it's just a little space for me to spout off about whatever comes to mind.
Mhm.
And if somebody else wants to spout off with me, then we can do that.
I love that. The many, many different talents of Katherine Blakeman.
She
Love it.
tries.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you a little bit better and to know more about your creative process and your motivations behind writing the stories that you do. It's been fascinating, and I truly appreciate you being here today.
Thank you. It's been really fun to do this.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's like my number one priority is that I hope that people go away from this going, "Oh, that was fun,"
There you
above
go.
anything
That as a
else.
testimonial on your website. It was fun. Katherine Blakeman, 2020.
I'm taking it.
There you go.
So before I let you go, where can our listeners find you and your work?
It depends how often you want to hear from me because I do have Facebook. That's my name. I'm sure you know
Mhm.
my name by this point. If not, where have you been? You can find me on Facebook now and again. Blue Sky, I try my best. Again,
Mhm.
it's my name. I think just Kath Blakeman writer at bluesky.com or something like that. I'm not really familiar with it.
Okay.
Mastodon, again, I have it open on my laptop, but I never go on it.
Okay.
But mostly I'm on Twitter/X/Twix at K Blakeman Writer. And then if I remember rightly, I'm also on Instagram at Katherine Blakeman Writer. But I mean just stick my name in there, I'm sure it'll come up with me somewhere.
I will put these links in the description of the episode as
I
well,
was
and I'll
gonna say
try and
I think
get the correct
confused
accounts.
I've confused you all now, haven't I?
Oh, I love it. It's a mystery. People can go on a
Exactly.
little Catherine Blakeman hunt, but
Yeah.
not like a violent one, just to find you. Um,
I mean if
that
it
was
comes to it, I also have a website, katherineblakeman.com. That's nice and easy.
yes, that one we can definitely remember. But yeah, thank you so much again for being here today. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll catch you again some other time.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.